What is up, Fence fam? So good to see you guys again, virtually as it were. It's been a couple weeks. Last week, we had an executive advisory committee meeting here at Ozark Fence to go over kind of the health of Ozark Fence and where we're headed, do some strategizing, that sort of thing. But nonetheless, here we are. Happy Memorial Day weekend to you guys. Yeah, hope you guys are doing super well. Weather's finally cooperating, seems like a little bit here in the Midwest. So maybe the coming weeks we'll actually be able to get some fence in the ground. Isn't that a novel idea? Let's say hello to a few folks. Devin McNeil says, "What's up, Joe? Checking in from Arizona. First time being able to catch this thing live." Devin, so glad you could catch it live. Always glad to have you here. You guys know Roger Bentoncourt. Roger, welcome. He says, "All right, hello, Fence fam. Let's not forget to hit the like." And isn't that the truth? Hit the like button for sure. Always helps the channel out, helps the algorithms out there know that we're doing good stuff. Bo Butler says, "Good morning from Denver, Joe." Good morning, Bo. Michael Taylor's in the house. Bam is here. That's right. So we'll get into this here in a little bit. But for this week's Week in the Life video, Bam is prominently displayed on the thumbnail. So you guys want to check that out. We'll watch that video here towards the end of this. Also, for the first time ever, if you're listening on podcast, welcome. Thank you guys for joining. That's right. After enough arm twisting, we're Dan Wheeler's got us to start a podcast. So this live interview or this live Q&A will also be replayed on a podcast in the upcoming weeks. I gave everyone the weekend off, so Braden's not here to let me know exactly when this thing's going to go on podcast, but nonetheless, it will be. So check that out. If you guys are listening on podcast, welcome. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I got notes here. So I was given specific instructions. Announce podcast. Check. Done. I'm really excited to add the podcast to the marketing efforts here on the channel. I think it's just another great medium of talking to folks and interacting with you guys, the Fence fam community, whether you're a professional fencer or not. Everyone's welcome in the Fence fam. But yeah, I'm super stoked, super excited. Dan Wheeler's been, like I said, twisting an arm for probably the last, 6 months or so. And finally, it's a reality. So we're pretty stoked about that. Also, another announcement is the contest ends at the end of this month, which is what? Tuesday, I think, is the last day of the month. The Win Day with the Expert, where we fly you and one guest. It could be it's been a business partner before. It's been a family member before. You and a guest out to Springfield, Missouri. We pay for the flight. We pay for the accommodations. And you spend a day with me and my team going over your business. And it could really be whatever you want. We've had a couple now. So one of them was more looking into our business and seeing how they could implement things we do here into their own business. And then the second time was really just kind of focusing on their business and seeing how we could help tweak what they have going. So it could really be anything. To sign up for this contest, go over to youtube.com/Joe Everest and check out the community tab. You'll find a link there to a Google form that will get you all signed up. Got a few good entries, but I always want to see who else is out there. Make sure everyone has a fair shot at getting into this because I always like seeing you guys, the Fence fam. All right. We've got a few comments. Guys, if you have questions or comments, drop them in the comments below. Ryan Gunter says, "I bought a new house and need to build a privacy fence for my backyard pool. Should I consider composite fencing as an option? I'm willing to spend more if I get a quality and / durable fence." Yeah, I mean, composite, I don't know that composite technology is quite there as far as fencing. Now, composite technology is obviously there for decking. I don't know. So we've done a few composite fences for like spec architectural type jobs. They're okay. I don't know. It's spendy. It really is. And I know you said you're willing to spend more for a quality / durable fence. I don't know that the cost, I don't know that you get that much benefit out of the fence in relation to what it costs. We install a ton of wood. So that's kind of what my inclination is going to be naturally, right? Is to go back to wood fence. If treated and preserved, just so happens we're sponsored by Standstill Experts. This live sponsored by Standstill Experts, as always. But I really think a cedar fence preserved correctly, stained and sealed correctly and on schedule is incredibly durable. And it can be done for a fraction of the cost of what composite is. Now, I'm not saying composite doesn't work. I mean, we've installed a couple fences and they went all right. They were good looking fences, but they were expensive fences to do correctly. So I don't know. I still don't think that's there. I really don't. We talked a couple weeks ago about the price of lumber coming down. And so that's going to, there for a little while when lumber was really expensive, the price difference wasn't that much, right? If we're comparing a cedar fence installed on steel posts as compared to a composite fence, wasn't major, right? The difference wasn't massive. But lumber's coming back down again. So we're starting to see, first off is treated pine. Treated pine's almost half of where it was roughly a month and a half ago. We looked at 2x4.8. We're continuing to watch 2x4.8 treated pine. About a month and a half, 2 months ago, we were spending a little over $10. I think it was $10.03 per 2x4.8 pressure treated pine. All the good jazz, right? So right now they're selling them for $5.88 a 2x4.8. So 4x4.8s have done roughly the same. I mean, I think they were like a 30% decline. So what we're hoping is what's seen in the pine market will follow into the cedar market is certainly the hope. We typically sit on a couple truckloads of our market is 1x5 1/2x6 Western Red Cedar. We like Alta boards. They're clean and we don't have to call through a bunch of them. But right now I think we're down to something like 6 or 8 bundles. So we're going to sit and watch and wait and see what happens. So your question is, should I consider composite fencing? I mean, consider it. Sure. I mean, you could get bids on composite versus cedar on steel. If you have a contractor in your area that does pre-staining, I would suggest that. That way the staining is consistent on all surfaces of the board. I think you'd be better served there. I really do. One guy's opinion, though. Keep that in mind. Bo says, Joe, we just hired our first subcontractor to help get fences in the ground. Can you touch base on your experience with your commercial sub crew and any tips or things to avoid? So at this point, we brought on a couple more subcontract crews, partner crews. So now we're running 3 partner crews. One of the partner crews can turn into 2 crews, so 3 to 4 partner crews. And then we've got a few in-house crews as well. But the question is about subcontractors, partner crews. Experiences with them. Our experience has been really positive. In our market, most of the skilled, experienced fence installers have gone to being subcontract. So they formed their own companies. They've gotten their own insurance. They have their own trucks, tools, etc. They're independent contractors, so that they feel like they can take home more take home pay by being a subcontractor rather than working for a fence company directly. Totally fine. So our experiences have been really positive. I mean, they're professional, on time. I mean, these are the guys that did great work when they worked directly for the fence company, whether it's ours or someone else in the market. We've had great success. And now I say that the double-edged sword here is they do have to be an independent contractor. So there are some stipulations that the IRS looks at when they determine, are they a 1099 contractor or are they a direct employee? One of those is they have to give you their schedule, right? So they have to say, next week I'm available for 3 days. I'm available Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever they're available. And that has to be okay. You have to be able to just manage your projects into their schedule. They also have to set their rate. So they had to say, for 6-foot privacy fence, I charge X per foot to put it in the ground. Now, I'm sure some of that can be negotiated and all that. But like I said, there are some stipulations. They do have to be independent. They also have to provide their own tools. So most of the guys have all their own equipment or rent equipment as needed. For that, I mean, it makes sense for us. I mean, they have their own equipment. They maintain it. They're responsible for making sure it's in good working order. And they're incredibly efficient. I mean, they're typically paid by the foot. I mean, or the project, however you want to say it. So they are motivated to make sure it's done right. Now, as an independent contractor, they're not paid to go back and fix anything, right? So if they have to go back and fix it, that's on them. So the quality is also there. In our experience, we enjoy working with them. We really do. Now, the benefit of having house crews is we have a little bit more control over the schedule, right? So we know we've got 5 days of work. I say that theoretically, as long as everyone comes in and all that, we've got 5 days of production capacity, rather than with a subcontract crew. Sometimes they have 5 days, sometimes they have 2 days. Sometimes they're working on their own projects or their projects for someone else. That's another thing you have to be okay with, is knowing that they're also going to be installing other people's projects, right? So other people in your market that also build fence, they would likely be working for them as well, which for us is totally fine. But in my experience, we really like working with them. So 2 of the crews are commercial. One of the crews is residential. So not only commercial sub crews, but now residential subcontract crews. We like these guys a lot. They're really great to work for. Like I said, I'm sure every market might be different, but in our experience, in our local market, the really experienced, high quality guys are all independent contractors now. I don't say all, most of them are. Josh Rand, aloha from Alaska. That's got to be the first time we've said that on the channel. I'm building a cabin and finished a CrossFit box too. Josh has been busy. We are siding and doing all the interior trim out of Western Red Cedar. I like that. Check out my story on Facebook for some pics. The views are awesome. I'm not just a fencer. Josh, I will check that out. What part of Alaska are you in? I actually have a friend over in California who is, I don't know, getting a summer home or something up in Alaska, where he can do some fishing and hunting and all that during the summer months, and then come back to sunny California in the winter. So what part of Alaska are you in, Josh? Jerry Davis, good morning, Ozark, from Big Jerry's Fencing in North Carolina. Jerry, welcome. I appreciate that. What part of North Carolina are you from? Let me ask that. So I was actually born outside Raleigh, or I was born in Raleigh, but lived outside of Raleigh in a town called Cary, which we will be visiting in July. So a little over a month and a half maybe. We'll be visiting North Carolina for the TChem training event. Super excited for that. Devin McNeil wants to know, what's your company's phone policy, Joe? Been having trouble knowing how to enforce something. We have a couple of young guys who think they need their phones at all times. So, oddly enough, this came up. So yesterday was our Final Friday meeting, which Final Fridays for us are really exciting. I enjoy them a lot. So we cook for everybody. We do some building maintenance, some projects. Inventory happens on Final Friday. And then we all come together for a group lunch. And we have kind of a company-wide meeting. What we did this month, what we're planning on doing next month. And then we can also bring up topics of discussion. So Sarah is taking over more and more of the day-to-day tasks of running Ozark Fence. As we're starting Ozark Wireworks, my time's going to be spent over there roughly half and half with Ozark Fence. So Sarah's transitioning into a greater leadership role than she already has. Anyway, so she wanted to kind of address the company yesterday with a team building exercise where we basically everyone voted on what they expect from a team member, right? So, and you got three post-it notes. You wrote your 3 expectations from your fellow team members on the post-it notes. She wrote them up on the whiteboard. You know what the number one thing was? Phones. Improper, or there was expectations. So proper use of cell phones during work hours. It was number one by far. So you're not the only one going through this. I think this is a pretty standard thing. Now, some of the so the crew chiefs that do field work, so the production crew chiefs, they all agree that trucks stay in the phone. Or trucks stay in the phone? No. Phones stay in the truck. Right. So when you're out on the job, your phone's in the truck, unless there's just a dire situation at home and you have to have it. But it better not be out unless it's an emergency. Now, on site or in the office, not really in the office. If you're in the fabrication shop or stain shop, if you're here on site at the Ozark Fence facilities, we'll say, phone policy is a little bit more lax than that, right? So phones are allowed to be carried on the person, and it's the use of them is getting a little bit more liberal, right? So that's something that we address. Is like, guys, listen, I mean, I understand that technology is an increasing part of our day-to-day life, but I also understand that on these phones is an increasing amount of distraction, right? There's a lot of distraction that goes on these phones. So, as far as a policy, we allow them, right? So we don't have lockers that we have them lock them up in. There's no like punishment policy if you're seen on a phone or something like that. But we also did take time to say, guys, let's be mindful that when we're doing work, we're here to work, right? We're not here to. Sarah used the example, play Candy Crush. I don't know if anyone actually still plays Candy Crush. Is it still a thing? It was a thing a while ago. I don't know. Candy Crush is still a game, but the example holds, right? That if we're here to work, we're here to work. So our policy is you can have them, but you said you have a couple young guys who think they need their phones at all times. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I mean, here's the thing, like as younger generations come up, this is going to become more normal because technology is a standard part of their day-to-day life, their minute-to-minute life. So I don't know that them having it is the problem. I don't mind. I mean, you can have it, sure. Now, let's be mindful about when we're using it, right? So whether it's on a break or whether it's lunch or whatever, totally fine. But if we're here to work, we're here to work. We're not here to be on phones. Kind of the conversation I'm condensing a 20-minute conversation into a soundbite type thing, but that's our policy. You're allowed to have them, but be mindful of when you're using them. Bo Butler says, I would look into Ameristar fence products for pool fences. We feel it's hand down best for pools. Yeah, use Ameristar. It's a great domestic product. I think you're right. They make some the pool pet and play, pet pool and play, 3 Ps. Where the pickets are a little bit tighter tolerances. We like it a lot. We also use some aluminum out there. We use kind of a variety depending on what the project is. But we've got really good Ameristar rep that stops by. Now it's probably works out that we're about 3 hours from the factory, so we've got a good factory rep that stops by occasionally and lets us know what's the latest and greatest with Ameristar. I'd also encourage you guys. I saw on their social medias. Is that like the internets? I don't know. I saw on one of their social media, I think it's probably Facebook, announcing that they've restarted their basically contractor training program. I forget what they call it, but where you can go spend a couple days at the factory. You spend some time in the classroom talking about what they're offering, what the benefits of each product are, and how to apply them, that sort of thing. But you also get to do a factory tour. Or when I went through, you did. And that's impressive just to watch how they implement technology, how they just efficiently run that system. It's impressive to watch. If you can get to Tulsa, Oklahoma and visit the Ameristar facility, you absolutely should. Braden Powell's with us. Good morning, Joe and Fence fam. Good morning, Braden. Jerry Davis says he's from Holly Springs, North Carolina. Well, very good, Jerry. I'll be honest with you. I'm not familiar with Holly Springs, but let me see exactly where the TChem training event is going to be. TChem. North Carolina. So Kernersville, which is, I believe, a suburb of something. Well, it's basically halfway between Winston-Salem and Greensboro, Kernersville. So if you're in the area, you should swing by and check it out. We're going to be there in July. Brian, you're very welcome. That's what this was for. Brian says, thanks for answering my question. That's what we're doing here. So if you guys have questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. It's always good to chat with you guys. But Brian, you're very welcome. I appreciate the question. Oh, all right. Jerry Davis says Holly Springs is just next to Cary. Fantastic, Jerry. Well, I don't know if I'm letting the cat out of it. I think I talked about this. So we're actually renting a car, and we are driving down to Cary to drive by the old place. So I will be in Cary in July, probably for a few hours, right? But so I lived in Cary from the time I was born till I was 11. I think 11 or 12 was when we moved back to North Carolina, or back to Missouri from North Carolina. So I'm sorry, I I don't remember Holly Springs, but I was also 11 years old. So I remember basically right around Cary and Raleigh, Winston-Salem, Durham, all that. Got to go see the Durham Bulls play. That was always the coolest thing. If you guys have seen the movies there's been a few movies that feature the Durham Bulls. Literally, when you hit a home run, that bull did. The eyes light up red, he snorts steam, the tail wags. It was cool. As a kid, it was really cool to watch the Durham Bulls play. Jerry Dev said, yeah, Holly Springs is just next to Cary. I knew I liked you. Jerry, thank you. I knew I liked you too. Definitely look me up when you're in town. Yeah, so we'll have dates closer to time of exactly when we're going to be around. Yeah, it might be we stop and grab some lunch or something while we're in Cary. We'll be in, so if you're familiar with Cary, what is that massive? There's a massive mall there. So Cary, North Carolina. I'll have to look it up. It's not the Cary Village Square. That one is somewhat close, though. Cary Park Centrum. There are all sorts of malls apparently in Cary. Oh, that one's. Well, anyway, Jerry, send me an email, joe@thefenceexpert.show. That is, let me put it in the chat. Joe@fenceexpert.show. Send me an email. We'll see if we can't link up. If you guys are in the Cary area, maybe we grab lunch. I'll post the dates probably on my Facebook page as an event of when I'll be in Kernersville for the TChem event, but then also when I will be, we'll set up like a lunch meet and greet or something. And maybe the mall's not even open, but there was a massive mall right behind the neighborhood I used to live in, and we could maybe do a meet and greet if that mall's still open. We got to do a little bit of research, I guess, but maybe at the food court or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Michael Taylor's talking about phone policy. We have had to make a policy, have sent one home and others to put up if any issue occurs. Yeah, so, I mean, here's the thing is I know where you're coming from on having the policy, sending home and all that. I think we're getting to a point, though, where we have to be mindful of the employee experience, right? We've spent a lot of time talking about the client experience, the client journey. I think we need to spend time thinking about the team member, the employee experience, right? And the team member journey or the employee journey. I think we need to be mindful of that, right? So I absolutely understand. I mean, if we're working, we're here to work, and we're not here to play on cell phones or deal in other distractions, right? Maybe it's not just cell phones. Maybe it's iPads or laptops or whatever. But we also need to be mindful that, the employer landscape are very different now than they have been in the past. So I think it's good to be mindful. We tried to take a mindful approach with that. We set kind of a standard pay scale across the board at the company that shows starting wages here, which is loosely pegged on, well, not loosely, it's tied to Missouri minimum wage. And then there's a multiplier that goes on top of that for minimum wage. And then we've got modifiers for outside work, for full field work, for team leaders, for supervisors and all that. But we had to be mindful of the team member journey, the team member experience when we're coming up with that, because, we're not necessarily in the day and age where you dictate policy, so this is more of a relationship moving forward than it is, it's a two-way relationship more than a one-way relationship. So, Michael, I definitely understand what you're saying. My point is I think we probably need to be mindful too. Stain Man, Kenny Dugan. Good morning, Joe and everyone. Kenny, good morning. Matt, the mad scientist of fence stain and cleaning. I think that's what we call you now. Mad scientist. Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, exactly. So Michael clarified, this is exactly the point. It's allowed until it's abused. That's fair. I think that's absolutely fair. I mean, listen, so what was it? 07, 08, during the housing market crisis, I took a second job at Lowe's over in the building center or in the building materials department because it's what I knew. It makes sense to take on a job and something but talk about a wake up call into corporate culture and rules and on policies and procedures and on and on and on. I mean, it's there now. Again, keep in mind this is 0708. This is not current, right? But cell phones had to be put in your locker. You had to lock them up in your locker, and if you were seen with it, you were asked to go home. If you had your cell phone out, you were asked to go home, and it was kind of one of those zero tolerance things. Now, this is also a different time in the employment market as well. But yeah, so I like this. Michael. It's allowed until it's abused. I think that's a fair point. I don't mind you using it. I use my cell phone at work, obviously. Now, it's replying to emails and texting you guys, that sort of thing. But, I understand the precedence it sets. So too, to see me at my desk on my phone and, and then have a policy that says no phones. Like, well, okay, so there are some phones. It just depends who you are and what you do here. That's not great. So I agree with this, Michael. It's allowed until it's abused. Kenny says, now that the heat of summer is upon us, what are you doing to keep your crews hydrated? Do you provide bottled water, coolers, have water balloon fights? All except the water balloon fights so far, but never say never, right? So no, yeah, we bring in bottled water by the case. So typically when we get a concrete delivery, we'll have them put on a pallet of water. Also, we've got I don't think we say name. We have Collagen water coolers. I think I can say that. I don't know. We've got 3 of them here kind of spread throughout the facility. That way, no matter where you're at, you've got one close by. You don't have to stop what you're doing and leave your area to go find a water cooler. We also have, so water coolers I'm counting those as water coolers, the water jugged water dispensers. But we also have the 5-gallon round coolers that go on the trucks, so that you can have. Typically, what they'll do is they'll take some bottled water with them that's cool for the morning, put ice in one of those, fill it with water, and then by the time they get on the job site, that water's cool too. Yeah, so that's kind of what the answer is. Yes to all but water balloons so far. Never say never on water balloon fights, I guess. Jason says, morning, Fence fam. Tail end fencing here in Boulder, Colorado. Hello, Joe, Jason, and Ben here. Gentlemen, so good to hear from you. Speaking of Spend a Day with the Expert contest winners, here they are. Here's the second round winners. So, guys, my note here says announce contest a couple of times during live. So, we're announcing it again. If you guys are just joining us, we do have a contest where it's Win a Day with the Expert, where I fly you and a friend or you and a coworker or you and a family member, you and a guest out to Ozark Fence, all expense paid, the airfare, the accommodations, the meals. We take care of it all. Give you the opportunity to spend a day with me and my team, talk about our business, talk about your business, whatever. We can tailor it to whatever you would like. Totally free. It's a free contest, free to enter the whole thing. Joe or youtube.com/Joe Everest. Check out the community tab for the link to the Google form. Jason, Ben, really good to see you guys here. Hope you guys are doing super well. Stevie Boy Billings is here. Good afternoon, Joe. Good afternoon from across the pond. Good to see you, sir. Guys, it has been craziness lately. I hope you guys are doing super well. I hope you're experiencing the growth that everyone else seems to be experiencing as well. This is one of the topics of conversation yesterday in our Final Friday meeting is we are growing at what feels a breakneck speed. We're growing e-commerce like crazy. I mean, it is growing like nuts. So if you're looking for fence fittings, shameless plug, we sell them. ozfence.store. We're typically priced competitively, depending on who you're comparing us to. We can ship same day if it's Monday through Friday before 4 p.m. Central or so. We can typically ship it same day. So that's getting nuts. Where we've got so Eric on the team. If you guys watch the behind the scenes, you already know, or the weekend in life, you already know. Eric runs the e-commerce side. He also handles the inventory. Inventory management, I guess. for us. Yeah, e-commerce. So my daughter Macy works for us now. She's working over in e-commerce, as well as we have a new team member, Alan, who is also working in e-commerce. So e-commerce is kind of building out into its own division as part of retail wholesale, right? But yeah, that's going strong. We're still gung ho. I mean, headed on all cylinders towards Ozark Wireworks, where we're going to start manufacturing, weaving our own chain link wire, weaving it for ourselves primarily, and others as we have capacity, sort of thing. It's our team. My dad and I were sitting talking about this the other day, where something like 3-4 years ago there were 8 of us and some partner subcontract crews. We still had several crews back then. Now I think last count we were something like 16 plus, basically 3 to 4 partner crews. We're bringing on a bookkeeper just to try to keep all the finance sorted over the next month. It's not something we're going to rush into, but we also need to bring on a couple of other team members. So I don't know. It's getting kind of crazy right now, and which is exciting and nerve-wracking all at exactly the same time. Exciting and terrifying at exactly the same moment, because it's an investment, right? When we bring someone on, we're committing that we are going to take care of them. Right? We've got plenty of work to keep them busy and that sort of thing. So you got to take that very seriously. And growth is expensive. It really is, because you're buying new equipment. You're buying the e-commerce. I think I had to pull up receipts and all that, but I think we're probably around $30,000-$40,000 so far in equipment on getting e-commerce set up, the fulfillment room. And then we're spending money like crazy on inventory last month. I want to say last month was around $200,000, or this past 30 days. So I guess technically we're still in May, but around a couple $100,000 in inventory. So it's a double-edged sword. Growth is great, but it's also kind of expensive. I hope you guys are seeing the same growth. Let me know. Because you hear one message from, let's say, the national media, right? And the talking heads on the news stations. I don't really watch the news anymore. I watch YouTube, right? So, but even the talking heads on YouTube are starting to talk about, just maybe not recessions, but a slowdown, a cool down. But then on the other hand, I was listening to an expert the other day on a podcast, an economic expert, talk about how the dollar is gaining strength over like the euro. The strength of the dollar is almost at a 20-time high. So buying imports becomes a little bit less expensive because the dollar is stronger. Now, for companies that export outside the United States, then that's not necessarily positive. Now their stuff just became more expensive if they're buying it in whatever foreign currency. So I don't know, mixed bag, right? So inflation's on the rise, but then the dollar's becoming stronger, which could curtail. I don't know. I really don't. I try to listen and pay attention and try to read all the writing on the wall, but a lot of it contradicts itself. So you don't know who to believe, which I think probably is a pretty good indication that not many people actually know what's going on. It's a lot of wait and see sort of thing. Let me know what you guys are seeing in your markets. I think this is the smartest way, right? To talk about what we're seeing in our markets and then go from there. So I'll start in the Southwest Missouri market. I think the market's fine as far as bids. Now, residential is slower than it has been in years past because I believe of pricing where it is. Both materials and labor have both gone up, which they probably should have. So prices are more expensive. So we're doing less projects for similar money. So revenues remaining roughly the same, but the number of projects have gone down. Commercial, on the other hand, is clicking right along. Like there's no end in sight for commercial work. So I'm fairly positive right now with our market. New housing starts they're not up, they're maintaining, which is totally fine. So in our market, we find that residential follows new housing starts by 6 to 8 months. So as long as it hasn't dropped, as long as it's maintained, we should be okay for the next 6 to 8 months as far as residential work goes. Now, that's not to say something major couldn't happen tomorrow and just completely tank. But as of right now, reading those tea leaves, I think everything looks fine in our local market. So I'd like to hear about what you guys think or what you guys are seeing in your local markets. Ramona High says, I own a small fencing company in San Diego. What a place. So we were out in San Diego for Social Media Marketing World. Beautiful, both in aesthetics and weather. Could you recommend someone to build me a website and to do my marketing? We use Sam Natello at .com. Does great work. Other guys use, I believe, Dan Wheeler and Danny Cannon use Benji, Clever Fox at Clever Fox. We use Sam Natello at .com. I'm more than happy with what Sam and his team have done for us. I would recommend either one. Personal experience I had with Sam. I love Sam and his team. But other guys in the fencing community have used Benji over at Clever Fox, and it sounds like they've had a really good experience too. So that is where I would start. Speaking of previous winners, Landmark Creations is here. Hello, Joe and Fence fam. Hello, how are you guys? Hope the family is super well. Their Landmark Creations is up in the Pacific Northwest. Super glad to see you here. Well, guys. Oh, so Kevin says residential is still very hot here in the Northwest. I think the more I've talked to people, the more this is kind of the trend that I've been hearing is that there's some confusion because we keep hearing about how things are slowing down and this and that. But then like in our business, when you look at our sales log and our P&L, it's like, it's not slowing down for us. It might be slowing down for other people. I don't know. But I think maybe that's part of a larger conversation about media reporting in general, right? That the accuracy of what's being reported, maybe, I don't know. Interesting. I'd like to hear what you guys are seeing in your markets. So. All right, guys. So we are also going to watch this week's episode of Week in the Life. We took a trip to Philadelphia. I took a trip to Philadelphia to go talk to Collagen Distributing, Chris Caruso and his team over there at Collagen Distributing, and had a great time. It was a whirlwind trip because it was also Mother's Day weekend. So I had to rush out, rush right back. So didn't take any of the team with me. Went by myself out there. But so that's what's in this week's video on basically kind of what went on here and what went on our trip to Philadelphia. Had a great time. Ended up going with Michael and Caleb. Met up with Michael and Caleb. They spoke at the event as well. I think they would agree that we had a fantastic time. Collagen was a incredibly gracious host. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you, Collagen team, for sure. So we'll be watching that here in just a little bit. Meantime, like I said, let me know how your market's looking. What are you guys seeing? Jason says, still booming here. Jason, where is here? Or never mind. This is Jason with Boulder, Colorado. Tail end in Boulder, Colorado. Okay, so Colorado's still good. Boulder's still good. I would expect if Boulder's good, then the Denver market in general, the greater Denver metro area is probably okay. I don't know, guys. I mean, I think the more we have people check in, I think this is what we're going to hear, that the markets are booming. So I don't know. I mean, maybe other industries are having trouble. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's fencing's isolated from this a little bit, just because it is one of the essential industries as far as safety, security, and privacy, right? The three reasons people build fence are kids, pets, and neighbors. We have always had on the residential side. I mean, commercial is probably a little bit different. Commercial is more, maybe more thieves and that sort of thing, more security aspect. But kids, pets, and bad neighbors, and even in slow economies, people still have kids, pets, and bad neighbors. So I don't know. So I was talking to who was I talking to? I was talking to Jacob Scalhorn the other day about this. About the economy and getting a little bit nervous about it. And I completely understand it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I had a little bit of a soul search last night thinking about investing in, we're investing in this new business, this Ozark Wireworks. It is a significant investment. It's a, mid 6-figure investment in the middle of a time where everyone says everything's slowing down. So, a little bit of a soul search there. But like I said, I kind of, one, we're okay for it, right? We're all right. But then two, it's like, I don't know. Everything in my personal experience tells me that everything's fine. Our local market is doing great. So I don't know. I just say that to say everyone's doing a little soul searching right now to figure out where they kind of fit in with the news that you're hearing. But I don't know. I would almost say kind of take it with a grain of salt, maybe. I mean, pay more attention to your local market than what the national media might tell you about the national market as a whole. Speaking of the OZ Fence team, Matt's here with us. OG Latiker says, good morning, Joe and Braden. Enjoying the show. Thought we had a good day yesterday and very glad we got to spend time training. Absolutely agreed. There's never enough time. There's never enough time. One of the points that we brought up in the team member expectations is being respectful of time and understanding that everyone's time is important. Very valid, incredibly valid. But one of the things I shared with everybody that I'm working on is trying to be better at estimating how much time a certain task would take. Right. So because yesterday is a prime example, I told Matt, they were going to wrap up a project first thing in the morning, and then they were going to do some inventory, and then we're going to do some training and this and that. Totally glazed over the fact that inventory takes several hours. It can take a couple hours because we're doing an inventory on everything, pipe and wire. And it was a good time to do some training, though, so we've got some new team members here that don't know the difference between 055 and 065. What's the difference between CS20 and CS40, that sort of thing. So it was a great time, but it was also a great reminder to me that I need to be more understanding of how long tasks actually take. Brian Fredrickson is here with us. Good morning, Brian. How are you, sir? So glad to have you here. Brian, how's your market looking out there? So Brian does quite a bit of fence, does a significant amount of fence out in the Las Vegas market, which, I think might be one of the, markets like that deal in tourism as part of their, I understand Vegas isn't only tourism, but probably a significant part of the market. Those might be the first ones maybe to feel a slowdown, right? So Brian, why don't you let me know how your market's doing? Are people still traveling? Are people still spending money? I think that might be a good indication. If they're not traveling, maybe they have less disposable income, sort of thing. I know we're planning a vacation coming up midsummer, and it seems like everyone's traveling because prices of everything are up and the vacancy is low as far as renting houses near a beach. Brian says it's mainly commercial work here. Interesting. So maybe residential has slowed down in the Las Vegas market. So interesting to see. Man, I can never get my hat straight. All right. It's busy though. So maybe that's a trend. Maybe, I need to go back and look at, so 08 wouldn't be a good indicator because it was primarily housing driven. I was going to say, maybe it is that commercial continues to tick on, albeit at a slower pace than normal. We had talked about this when we're talking about price increases, that commercial is more able to absorb price increases because they simply pass it on to the customers, whereas the residential market, there's no one to pass it on to. That stays home, right? That budget hits home for them directly, hits their pocketbooks directly. So I wonder if maybe that's a thing that we see, that guys that focus more on commercial than residential don't really feel whatever this is, if it is a thing, if it isn't it, right? We're probably, like I said, we're seeing that kind of on our end, that residential had a bit of a slowdown over the last 2 years, probably primarily because of pricing. In terms of total projects, in terms of revenue's still plugging right along. But in terms of projects installed, while commercial, we had a massive jump last year in commercial work, both projects and revenue. This year, we're kind of on track to have a similar year as far as projects and revenues. So, I don't know. Interesting. Well, guys, just a reminder, for those of you listening at home, or for those of you watching this live, you can also be listening at home in the near future or on the podcast. So we're starting a podcast with the channel, which is basically a replay of this live in audio form. So as that comes out, watch for announcements on where to find that and how to find that. I believe we're starting it the 1st of June, though. So in the next week or two, you should see that coming out. If you guys are listening at home, welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning in. Do you call it tuning in on a podcast? No, maybe. I don't know. You call it tuning in on the radios. I appreciate you listening. I really do. All right. Brian says, So Brian's in, like I said, in the Las Vegas market. They make you get a license and bonded for what you can show financials and insurance to support. So it's harder to compete on small residential with guys who have smaller limits on contractor licenses. Interesting. So Missouri, I don't know. Missouri's not really regulated at all in that regard. So I've heard that. So obviously Arkansas is our neighbor to the south. They have similar licensing that has to do with levels of projects you can take on. And you had to submit certified financials. So let's reread this. They make you get licensed and bonded. I would guess it's the state for what you can show financials and insurance to support. So it's harder to compete on small residential with guys who have smaller limits on contractor licenses. So probably they have less overhead, and I think we're probably going to see that continuing, that in the residential market, that you've got companies coming in that are newer companies that have significantly lower overhead and are able to operate at lower prices. I mean, and I don't mean to say now, I mean, that's always ever happened, but we've had a really good economy for the last, 14 years, 13, 14, 15 years, depending on who you want to ask, I guess. So there's money in the market and there's lending. So now the Fed's hiking the rates and all that. Lending is getting more expensive, but it's still available, right? So if you're really skilled, if you're hardworking, and you don't feel like you're bringing home as much as you should, you could go get some lending for a vehicle and tools and all that. So maybe you see more established companies moving into commercial only, or at least heavily into commercial, somewhere that the market is a little bit more competitive for them, and somewhere that a newer company can't slide into as easily. I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch for sure. All right, so like I said, today's video. Let's go ahead and watch today's video. It is so let's see. When was this? A month ago, I think, that we had the Concert training, I believe. Let's see. Of course, you guys can watch this live. If you guys are listening to the podcast, you can watch this not live. You can watch this on youtube.com/Joe Everest. See, all right, here we go. I'm trying to do this technology solo today, so keep in mind, Fence guy trying to do technology and all. It's gonna work. It says week 3. My face is covering that up. So this is Eric and Braden building out one of the tables in the fulfillment room. So I'm sure you guys listening on the podcast, this makes fantastic audio content for you guys. But again, check it out, youtube.com/Joe Everest. I believe it will be in the description of this podcast. Can't hear. What in the world? Okay. Let me. It's not muted. I can hear it on my end. I'm going to play this again. Let me know if anybody else can't hear it. Typically, if I can hear it on my end, you guys can hear it on your end. Well, come on, Joe. All right. No sound for Brian either. All right. Fantastic. Let's stop screen. Share screen. All right. Let's try it again. Add to stream. Let's back it up. Well, yeah, let's back it up. Start from the beginning. All right, let me know if you guys have this. Yeah, Braden, I just switched the source.
It's a wet and soggy day again, which is par for the course. Over the last month, we've averaged 3 out of the 5 work days per week having rain events. It's been wet and soggy, and on the installation side, it really slows things down.
Perfect. You guys hear it now. As I said, Eric and Braden are... I like this dedication to content creation, though, Braden. So not only is he helping Eric assemble this table, he's got camera in hand while he's doing it. This is dedication. This is dedication to the craft right here.
Bagel break.
I got bagels. We do like bagel breaks.
And it has cheese. I'm assuming that's cheese. Soft with a slight chew to it. Scale 1 to 10. Good flavor.
I like Eric's impromptu bagel review here.
About a 6.
Right.
I've had better.
There's extra holes on here that don't seem to be on here, which is not great. Eric.
So these tables, they're incredibly durable. We like them a lot. We like using them, but instructions leave a lot to be desired.
I got it figured out.
It took us like 10 minutes to finally read the next page of the instructions, which clearly said that the extra holes were for some product that we didn't even have and that we were supposed to drill our own pilot holes. So that was awkward.
Oh, well, lost it.
It's funny seeing like how different this room looks now. As it stands today, there's a couple more tables. You guys will watch all this, but there's a new piece of equipment in there that is very nice. If you guys follow me on TikTok, you know exactly what it is. It's just funny to see like how quickly things can change, because I think this was only 3 or 4 weeks ago.
While the guys continued to get the new fulfillment center ready, I was on my way to Philadelphia. All right, guys, it is 5 a.m. and I'm on my way to the airport to head to Philadelphia. As you guys are probably going to see on the drive to the airport, it is storming like crazy. I have a feeling we will not be an on-time departure this morning, but you never know. We'll see.
So it was storming like nuts that day. Like it was, I woke up to just like reverberating thunder and lightning throughout the house. I really thought I was going to wake the kids up and that was going to be a whole thing, because in the mornings, usually I'll try to slip out in the morning before the kids wake up. Anyway, but yeah, no, it was that. So you saw a couple of bolts of lightning there. I really didn't think we were going to get out on time, but we certainly did. There's Michael and Caleb, Bam and Caleb, met at the Philadelphia airport.
Chris, how are you?
Chris.
Good to see you. Appreciate
Chris
you picking us
Caruso
up.
with Concert Distributing.
It was great. It was great. Uneventful. Yeah, we had a major storm. I didn't think we were going to get out of town on time, honestly, because it was like storming like crazy. And then the airplane went, boop, and it was done.
Once you get above the clouds, you're good.
Yeah.
We had a little bumpy ride, and we landed hard.
Did you really?
I think they're going to go see the mechanic. So I arrived in Philadelphia on time, I might add. Thank you, Delta. Just in time to meet up with Caleb and Michael from Stand Still Experts and Chris from Concert Distributors to pick us up and show us around a little bit. The first order of business when you get to Philadelphia, have a cheesesteak, right? That's where we headed. But now we actually went to New Jersey to get a Philly cheese, and not any Philly cheese. It was a round Philly cheesesteak, which kind of blew my mind. But yeah, so we went to a place called Donkey's in Jersey to get a Philly cheesesteak. I'm not current on the geography over there. It seemed a little off, but anyway, it was delicious.
Philadelphia Sports Complex. If you guys are in the Philadelphia area, go find this place called Donkey's Steak Place. Fantastic. I mean, you open the door and the smell just hits you in the face. It smells just, if you weren't hungry before, you were starving then. So this is it. These are the round Philly steak sandwiches, Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. And we had some seasoned fries too. But the round thing was just kind of mind-boggling. Of course, they had a donkey out front that we had to take a picture with.
All right, guys, it is 5:30 on Friday morning. Now we're going to head over to...
That was basically all we did that day was travel and then get dropped off at the hotel. This is the next day.
The Concert Distributors and check out their 6 a.m. safety meeting.
That's how the morning started.
So the mission in Philadelphia was to help other home service-based businesses better market themselves through social media marketing.
That was my mission. That was not the overall mission. The overall mission was just really more training, staining and sealing. It's kind of like a mini staining university. We also talked about the different items that Concert Distributors also distributes.
Namely, Facebook Live. I'm a big fan of it. I think it's really effective, and the cost is right to get started. It's typically free. Anyway, Concert Distributors hosted us there. Thank you so much to Chris and the team at Concert Distributors. Had a great time, and I think we made a meaningful impact on several companies while we were there.
It was raining in Philadelphia also. All day long, it just rained. This is like an ongoing joke. I don't know that we've had a stain training, like a staining university, whether it's in Nashville or on the road, that it hasn't just absolutely poured in. I cannot think of one where it hasn't rained. I don't know what it is, but we kept the streak alive. I gotta find an orange jacket. This jacket's okay, but it's a gray jacket with orange lettering. It was fairly chilly and, like I said, quite wet.
Now, one of the hits of the training, besides the social media talk, of course, was when Caleb, Stand Still Experts, brought out their eco-friendly fence cleaner. It was a hit. It was visually interesting. People loved it. Let's see what you think.
So, it's a pretty simple process. The great thing is, this is not going to hurt the grass at all. It's not going to hurt bugs. Anytime this stuff foams up like this, that means there's organic growth there. So what you see is mold, mildew, algae, anything like that.
Almost like peroxide when you put it in the cut.
It's exactly the same. Exactly. I would use a stronger cleaner if I was going to restore this fence. This one's not strong enough to do what I want to do here. I have to add pressure.
But if you were going to do like a solid stain or one of the semi-solids, you'd be fine. I'll still probably do a little bit more.
I'm worried about adhesion.
Right.
And this is so degraded.
Yeah.
So degraded.
So for those of you guys that do maintenance cleaning and maintenance stains, this eco cleaner really is where it's at. I mean, it does a good job at cleaning, but also it's a really good visual for the client to see this thing working in real time. We are adding it to our maintenance plan for sure.
I really want to remove some of this thing to get the life.
So you would do strip for first then?
I would use our wood cleaner. It's a mild stripper. Okay. But that's it. I mean, when your customer walks out and sees that, they're going to go, that's pretty impressive. The problem is on something like this, it's just not the right tool for it because you're not getting that wow effect without pressure on it. But this can sit here for as long as you want. But I would probably let it dwell for 5-10 minutes. You know, you might do, you know, if you got a fence that's 50 feet, 50 feet, 50 feet, maybe do 50 feet.
Get back to it.
Go clean that panel and then move all the way around. Today's a great day to clean because these chemicals stop working when they dry. So if it gets dry, it's going to quit working. So a lot of times you'll have to go back with, like, you can take your pressure washer wand on high pressure and just mist everything, keep it wet. So a wood stripper, same way, you got to keep it wet. Rainy day, you don't have to worry about it. So it'll stay nice and wet for us so we can go a lot further. But it's a big problem in the summertime. You know, it's 100 degrees out and you spray a panel. By the time you get to the next panel, it's already dried up. So.
Now, no trip to Philadelphia is complete without a few things. 1, visiting the Liberty Bell. 2, Constitution Hall. And, of course, some pizza the size of my hand and another Philly cheesesteak.
This was a really neat part where we visited. You're getting ready to see it. Visitor Center and the Liberty Bell, Constitution Hall. I really wanted to go through Constitution Hall, but my flight was like at 4:30 that afternoon, and the first available that morning, I realized you had to go schedule your walks through Constitution Hall. I don't believe there's a charge for it. You just had to schedule it ahead of time, and the first one available was like 4 o'clock. So, look at this pizza. That is a monster slice. Philly cheesesteak, of course. Constitution Hall. These are some of the tightest streets I've ever been in. I mean, I don't know how people actually take work vehicles down these because it was. I mean, Chris has a full size truck, a 1-ton Ford, and it was tight. The mirrors were just about touching these other vehicles' mirrors as we were traveling down the road.
Thank you again to Chris and the Concert Distributing team. I really appreciate you guys being such great hosts. Can't wait to see you guys next year. Next trip is to the TChem training event in North Carolina in July. All right, guys, so not much fencing content because of the weather, but next week's looking better. Hopefully we'll have some more fencing-related content for you guys.
All right, that'll be it. Let me know what you guys think about the content format there. So kind of going to the Week in the Life series type content, right? Giving you guys a look at behind the scenes. The unfortunate thing is when not a lot of fencing gets done, it's a little hard to create content, right? So, and it's not, so fencing got done, but it's also a little bit more difficult to take this video equipment out into the field when it's pouring down rain because it is a substantial investment for these camera bodies and lenses and all that thing. So all that sort of thing. But let me know what you guys think of the format. All right, let's catch up. Matt talking about sound. Hey, there it is. Yeah, so Kevin had some of the bagels so Kevin was our first winner of Spend a Day with the Expert. Again, for those of you just joining us, the contest is still open. We're trying to get as many applicants as we can to make sure we make the right choice, right? So if you haven't, and that's a pretty much if you're watching this and you're not Kevin or Jason, you should sign up for this because I'd love to have you guys out. What's funny is I had this conversation a lot. We end up learning just as much as those that come for the training, right? Whether it's me or my team, or we learn through teaching, right? That's one of the ways we learn things here. So by bringing folks in, we're actually kind of helping ourselves as well. We help them, we help us. It's a win-win. We also create content, so maybe it's a win-win-win sort of thing. But yeah, Kevin had some of those bagels. We like having the bagels there ready because it's kind of like there's so much to get done. We'll just like eat on the go sort of thing. Eat as we're going sort of thing. We need a series called Bagel Break. Ryan, if you knew Eric does not need more camera time. I mean, he is if there is a camera around, Eric is going to be around the corner somewhere. I don't think he needs more camera time, if we're being honest with each other. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't give Braden direction on how this show's supposed to go. He has full creative control. So if Braden feels like there needs to be more Eric, then maybe we have a bagel break series. Divine Fence says, hey, Joe and Fence fam. Hope everyone's having a great weekend and have a good holiday. You too as well, sir. He goes on to say, love the look behind the scenes. I appreciate that. Now, of course, there's a lot we can't show, right? But we're trying to give like I said, that behind the scenes look of what goes on at a fence company, kind of behind the scenes sort of thing. And it's going to be great as we're creating a new company to do kind of a behind the scenes look on growing that. Excuse me. Similar to the Successful Contractor show page content, showing what it looks like to start up a new fence company, right? So this is kind of what it's going to look like to start up a new fence manufacturer. And I use that term very loosely because we were going to have one weaving machines, whereas a lot of the big brands have 100. I mean, well, you guys saw Brent Manufacturing at the time when I was there, they had 4. I believe they're up to either 6 or 8 now. So I use the term manufacturer very loosely. We're going to have one machine to start with and then grow as we pay those machines off, because they are a substantial investment for sure. But yeah, I'm glad you guys are liking the behind the scenes look. If you guys have questions, comments, drop them in the comments below. One thing I want to try to pull up here for you guys is see if I can't figure out how to share this. So as I mentioned before, I went to Social Media Marketing World in San Diego, where it was literally anything and everything social media. What's new, what's latest, how do you incorporate stuff like that, or these learnings into your content strategy sort of thing. But they also put out a report that I want to see if I can't try to share with you guys. Well, I know this is making great content now. All right. Hope you guys can see that. Actually, I know what I can do. Scratch this idea. Sorry. I'll just move it over to the other screen. Still trying to figure this stuff out, guys. Hang with me a second. There we go. All right. We are back at it. So each year they put out this social media marketing industry report, which I think is incredibly interesting. It's a good look into kind of the state of social media. Now they stay towards the cutting edge, right? So this year was a lot of talk about NFTs, about cryptocurrency, that sort of how they relate to marketing and media marketers, that sort of thing. Yeah, so let's. We are going to read this at the same time. I heard that I listened to their podcast and I heard them talk about this morning. So we are going to read this at the same time. That's all right. So executive summary, major findings. So Facebook's declining. This is something that they were talking about at Social Media Marketing World. So something to kind of keep an eye on. Now, understand that this training, this convention is really aimed towards advertising agencies. So take that for what it's worth, right? So they're saying that it's declining. Marketers have been diversifying away from Facebook steadily since 19, 47%. So still around half of those polled, which are agencies, I selected Facebook. 13% of the marketers indicated to be increasing organic marketing on Facebook. So organic, this is something that we talk about during the trainings. Organic reach is I mean, not gone. It's not nothing, but it's significantly decreased over what it was 5 or 6 years ago. Now, one of the points I like to make is Facebook still is saying that they want to share more live content, right? So they want to compete with the other video platforms out there that show live content. So they want live. So when I'm talking to other contractors, one thing I harp on, and I harp on this for the last couple of years, is Facebook Live. Like, if you're going to do a video, instead of recording it and editing it and trying to get it perfect, send it live, because Facebook wants that. And if Facebook wants it, they will show it to more people organically. They don't want the photos, the written word as much. I mean, it's still important to them. They still want people to consume it. But if Facebook tells you they want to emphasize this certain type of media, you listen and you give it to them, because they're going to send it to more people. So I probably agree with this, that the organic, it just continues to drop. Instagram is hot. So that's kind of, so we do Instagram, but we don't do it in a dedicated way. Instagram is hot. 79% of marketers are using Instagram. It's the second most important social platform for marketing behind Facebook. So Facebook is obviously still strong. Significant 61% of marketers plan on increasing their Instagram organic activities. Interesting. So this one's been hot lately. So I listened to a couple podcasts in regards to marketing, kind of what's new on marketing, all that. Everyone's talking about short form and looping content. Looping short form video use is on the rise. Short form video formats like Reels are growing. Nearly 1 in 4 marketers say those are their most important video formats. The podcast I was listening to yesterday mentioned that Instagram stories are limiting it to what you can only see 3 stories at a time. Whereas, so the lady's making the point was that more people are going to YouTube stories. So if you guys use Instagram stories, I know a lot of fencing, staining, really any trade that has visually interesting content, use Instagram a lot. If you're using the stories, it sounds like they're limiting it to 3 stories. You can see 3 the most recent 3 stories, right? If you're doing that, maybe check out YouTube stories. YouTube interest is high. A significant 67% of marketers plan on increasing their use of YouTube video, and 69% want to learn more about organic video marketing on the platform. Guys, YouTube is still hot, right? And I don't know how to say this delicately, but advertising agencies haven't really ruined it yet, right? They haven't just poured massive amounts of money into content creation, into advertising, and into promoting their product on, whatever their product is on YouTube. I think that's why people are moving away from Facebook, because advertising agencies and big brands have just dumped container loads of money into this, and they've kind of ruined the experience, right? So there's a certain demographic, the younger demographic doesn't use Facebook at all, because it's more of a sales platform anymore. Now there's a lot of content sharing. There's a lot of family sharing photos and big events. I'm still on Facebook. My family still is, but the younger generation is moving away from it completely because of what the advertising agencies have done to the platform. YouTube is still, uncorrupted, maybe is the term. That's kind of a rough term, but YouTube is still very much viable. So a lot of people I talk to say, well, that I should have done this 4 years ago. I don't know if now's a good time to start. What this is telling you is that 67% of marketers plan on increasing their use, but 69% want to learn more about organic video marketing. So over half the people polled said they're still trying to figure it out, right? And we can be on the same page as these advertising, maybe stay a step ahead, hopefully. But yeah, it's not too late is the point. TikTok adoption is rapidly growing. TikTok is really kind of where it's headed to. Only 18% of marketers are using TikTok. So it is still very much an organic platform. Now, there's some ads on it. There's some this and some that. But in terms of users that are going to simply consume content, TikTok is where it's at. 18% of marketers are using TikTok. 37% plan on increasing their activity on the platform. And a significant 47% are interested in learning more about TikTok. We're all trying to figure it out. And TikTok's changing kind of rapidly too as they grow and mature as a platform. If you're starting your content creation, so maybe this is a sign that that my talk changes a little bit, because I still talk a lot about Facebook Live. Maybe it should change into YouTube, into TikTok. Maybe. Now TikTok Live's a little bit harder to get into than YouTube Live. And Facebook Live's open to everybody. So actually, I think YouTube and TikTok have the same. You got to have 1,000 followers. Actually, TikTok, I think it's only, I'll have to double check this. I think the stipulation for live is 1,000 followers. YouTube's 1,000 followers and so many minutes of consumption, I believe. Let me check for comments real quick. So I'm doing this full screen so I can read this with you guys. But unfortunately, when I do it full screen, it takes away comments. So we'll be taking comment breaks. Empire Fence and Netting. What is up, guys? Good stuff, Joe. Just got back from Mexico, sitting in Houston. We're supplying nets and more in the Mexican League Baseball. I like that a lot. Fence companies can do more than fence. Hey, if there's ever a poster child for fence guys can do more than fence, it is Matt Warner and the team over at Empire Fence. I was watching your story. You looked like you caught some batting practice and some on-field time. I was so incredibly jealous. It looked like you guys had a great time. Michael Bobbitt says, hey, just wanted to tell you, I love your content. Follow you and Tom Reber. Are very good, very closely. This is my first year in business. Just got my Rhino driver this week. Fantastic, Michael. So Tom Reber was actually a business coach of ours for quite a while. He and I still kind of exchange text messages occasionally, monthly or something like that. But no, Tom, if you guys are looking for another channel to follow Tom Reber. Now, he's very much in your face, and he doesn't pull punches, but he tells you what you need to hear. Said also, I listened to you today. I'm building my dipping vats. Very good. I love pre-dipping fence pickets, specifically cedar pickets. It coats all 6 surfaces. It's a very nice process. But wanted to say thank you. You helped me a ton. Michael, always happy to. We're working on version 2.0 of the dip tank, and then we'll probably do a video of what that build-out process looks like. We got 1.0 right now. We've been using it for the last year and a half. It works, but it could use some improvement. So once we get 2.0 done and I'm get comfortable with it, share it with you guys. That way you guys can see kind of an up-to-date. Actually, I tell you what, I think Braden filmed, I know Braden filmed some content revolving around the stain tank version 1.0. So actually you guys will be seeing that probably in the next week or two. But just know we're changing to version 2.0. We're improving it. All right, here we go. Continuing on. I'll take another message break here in just a few minutes. Facebook dominance is still strong. A very significant 90% of marketers use Facebook, followed by Instagram at 79%, which makes sense because Facebook owns Instagram. 47% of marketers claim Facebook is their most important social platform. So, this says that, so while, what did it say in the beginning? Marketers are diversifying away from Facebook, but it sounds like it's still strong. We use Facebook at Ozark Fence. Facebook is our primary social channel. Now we do use Instagram and Twitter. We post to those, but in terms of like building community and communicating with our community, it's typically always on Facebook. Facebook ads are used by 70% of marketers, and 51% find Facebook platform the most important for ads. So this is kind of the double-edged sword, though. This is why there's not a lot of organic reach, is because Facebook said, it's probably been 2 years ago now, that they were out of ad inventory. They had no more places to put ads, so they started putting them more and more into the feed. So you get less organic reach because, now it's all paid ads. So this makes sense that 79% of marketers are using paid ads because they've realized that organic reach is gone. The above summary is just a taste of what's in the report. The following pages, you'll find 50 plus charts. Let's do it. You guys can find this as well. I just Googled Social Media Examiner 2022 report. Uh-oh. Let's get to the next page here. All right. We ask marketers to select the single most important question they want answered. So this is more about what marketers are wanting to learn. Marketers are wanting to learn the best ways to improve sales and generate leads. So it's kind of what we're up to, right? Now you could get into a whole world of Facebook advertising as far as lead generation. There's a lot of companies, Tommy Mello does garage doors. He loves lead generation, specifically on a lot of platforms, but he talks about Facebook a lot. You can do it and you can do it well. Takes some effort though. Takes some effort, takes some money. Whereas Facebook Live is free. So free is for me. Benefits of social media marketing. 85% of all marketers surveyed indicate that their social media efforts have generated more exposure for their business. Kind of goes without saying, is you're building a community, right? You're interacting with people and you're letting them meet you before you go to their home or their place of business. You're letting them learn more about you and basically get comfortable what it is that you represent, your company, whatever. I can't go on enough about it. Are marketers who've been using social media for years achieving better results? Probably. I mean, they're getting better at it. We can create Facebook ads here internally pretty quickly just because we've done it for so long. Let's see next. Improve sales. Large percentage of marketers find better sales results with more years of social media experience. So get started is probably the point here. Facebook and Instagram contribute the most sales for marketers. I would agree with this. So obviously through this YouTube channel, the phone does ring at Ozark Fence, but if we're talking about social media marketing efforts, it's Facebook hands down. Let's see. It's interesting to see though, 14% are show results in TikTok. Interesting. Snapchat and Twitter are still on the charts, which is kind of surprising to me. I guess because I'm surprised to see LinkedIn is so low on there. LinkedIn is a really nice platform. Now, I guess maybe it's lower because it's B2B, so it's not really consumer facing. But here's the point there were people that had a similar argument against Facebook years ago when we were talking about it. They said, well, I'm doing B2B. I'm trying to talk to business owners. I'm trying to talk to decision makers at these large businesses. People on Facebook are sharing like cat pictures and pictures of their kids. Here's the thing about people is they're people all the time. So the person that's making these purchasing decisions at this large corporation, they're a person. So they're also on Facebook looking at cat pictures and pictures of kids and stuff like that. It took marketers a little while to figure that out. So LinkedIn is kind of the opposite. So if you say, well, I do residential, I'm not really in the commercial side of things, so LinkedIn really isn't for me. These might very likely are your target demographic because in terms of home ownership status, in terms of household income, that sort of thing, I think LinkedIn probably ought to be on your radar, even if you don't do B2B, even if you're B2C, business to consumer. I think LinkedIn should be on your radar for sure. Let's see. Increased exposure. Marketers, 83% who've been using social media marketing for 1 year or longer reported generates exposure for their business. Kind of goes without saying. All the major social platforms seem to have a big impact on exposure. Instagram is the top, 75%. Then YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. So it's interesting to see Twitter above Facebook in terms of exposure. LinkedIn, TikTok, and Snapchat. Interesting. All right, generating leads. This chart shows the marketers get more proficient in generating leads via social media platforms with more experience. What is this? So this chart shows that marketers get more proficient at generating leads via I read that first verse, like I don't understand the word. Via social platforms with more experience. So if you had more than 5 years experience, they would strongly agree. That makes sense. I mean, once you get more comfortable using it, you become more proficient at it. That's what I'm saying. If you start with Facebook Live, it's the lowest barrier of entry, and it gets you used to using this muscle, right? LinkedIn and Facebook contribute the most leads for marketers. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram are your top three. Those who have used social media for 1 year or longer reported substantially better results driving traffic. 72% reported benefits compared to those with less experience. So the The more you practice, the better you get at it. Facebook offers the most traffic to marketers. Absolutely agree. When we're looking at advertising dollars spent for e-commerce, it's almost entirely on Facebook. Now, Ozark Fence, we do some radio. I believe we've got a little bit of television through a co-op. We do some other things there, but Facebook's the only thing we do on e-commerce. Develop loyal fans. Building a loyal fan base seems to be an advantage that improves as marketers gain more years of experience. Kind of the same thing, right? As you get more comfortable to talking to a camera, you get better at building an audience. Stands to reason. Marketers declared Instagram and Facebook as their best platforms for developing loyal fans. I don't know. I'm surprised to see YouTube so far down. A full 12% behind Instagram. I don't know. We're not even on Instagram. This channel isn't even on Instagram. So I would say for us personally, it's YouTube and then Facebook, then TikTok. I'm on TikTok a little bit. If you guys are on TikTok, you should follow me. It's a good time. We're doing sales updates on the e-commerce right now because that's kind of the area of the business that I'm in day to day right now. Commonly used social media platforms. Facebook is the giant. Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. I am constantly surprised to see Twitter even in these rankings, especially as high. Maybe it's a regional thing. I don't know of anyone that really uses Twitter. So I used Twitter a few months ago when I was digging deeper into NFTs and cryptocurrency, because a lot of that community is on Discord, but also on Twitter. But professionally, I don't know I guess we posted Twitter, but I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that it's that prevalent. YouTube's 52%. So it's saying that Twitter is used almost as much as YouTube. That's kind of mind blowing. Facebook and Instagram are the top two platforms used by marketers by a long shot. All other platforms lag behind these two. Twitter dropped from 48 to 43. TikTok grew from 9 to 18. So Twitter doubled. Kind of interesting to see, huh? All right, let's catch up with some chat. Hello? Project Metal Music says, hey, Joe. Hey, everyone. Hello over across the pond. Good afternoon to you. Adam Sims is in the house. Hello, Adam. You guys want me to go back or do anything different on these slides, let me know. Building a loyal fan base seems to be an advantage that improves as marketers gain more years of experience. Again, as you get up, just a second. I left Adam's comment up there. All this stuff kind of stands to reason, right? So as you get used to using it, as you get more comfortable at it, you get better at. This one says building a loyal fan base. I think the last one was maybe building engaged fan. These kind of seem to be saying the same thing, but marketers declared Instagram and Facebook as the best platforms. Oh, okay. I was gonna say we literally just saw these. All right, because we did just see these. Never mind. All right, platform use beginners for advanced. So this is really hitting home that you need to start practicing. B2B marketers. This chart shows that most B2B marketers use Facebook and a significant percentage use LinkedIn. That stands to reason. If I were simply targeting B2B, as we build out Ozark Wireworks, right? So that's going to be primarily a B2B business. Actually, it's probably going to be entirely B2B. So we're going to be selling to Ozark Fence, obviously, but also to other fence contractors as we have production capabilities, as we have capacity to take on more clients. So I would absolutely agree with this. Probably not even Instagram. I would say Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube will probably be our top three. The most important social platform for marketers is Facebook by a long shot. For the first time in many years, Facebook no longer holds the majority for most important social platform. I guess maybe because it's 47 instead of looking at this pie chart, it holds. I mean, a significant portion of the pie. I don't know. Still most used, but it's losing its dominance. So maybe because it doesn't have more than 50% of the share. But Facebook as a company, when you combine Facebook and Instagram, still hold, I mean, almost 3/4 of the pie. So Facebook dropped from 54%. So I would imagine probably LinkedIn and YouTube growing. I mean, TikTok's only 1%, so it didn't account for that massive drop, but Instagram grew from 22%. So maybe Instagram took over some, which is still good for Facebook. B2B, B2C focused marketers. Clearly, Facebook dominates the business to consumer space. 53% of marketers selected as their number one choice. However, for business to business marketers, LinkedIn grabs the most important slot, surpassing Facebook. That makes sense. The rise of false social platforms. Here we show top 5 social platforms for marketers deemed the most important over a 5-year period. I mean, it's Facebook. I mean, I feel like we're kind of reiterating the same point over and over here. Now, Facebook is declining. Okay. But, I mean, look at this. So, what's it? Instagram's growing while Facebook's declining. But, I mean, LinkedIn's climbing. But it's still, Facebook has 47%. I don't know that it's worth spending this much time harping on the fact that Facebook's losing market share when it's still the lion's share of the market share. So, Facebook Live. If I haven't drummed that in hard enough, Facebook Live is where it's at. We asked marketers how their organic posting activities will change over the next 12 months. Here's some breakdown by platform. 13% of marketers indicate they will be decreasing their organic marketing on Facebook. That's probably a mistake. I mean, organic marketing, it doesn't take a lot of effort. You know, it's kind of one of those, low cost of entry, right? You can get, we use scheduling software to where, Jeremy schedules social posts out for quite a while and then it just automates the post. So I wouldn't just do away with organic completely. I guess it just says 13% of markets. So a small percentage say that they'll be decreasing organic. Okay. 41% of marketers plan on increasing their Facebook organic activities. As shown earlier, Facebook is still the most important social network for most marketers. Facebook must love this report. Our research shows a significant 61% of marketers plan on increasing their Instagram organic activities. So maybe we need to consider a concerted effort into Instagram. 66% of business to consumer marketers plan on increasing their Instagram organic activities compared to 59% of business to business. Interesting. So check out your Instagram game. Significant 57% of marketers plan on increasing their YouTube organic activities. I like this a lot over the next 12 months. Note that on page 30, we asked the question differently, and 67% of marketers indicate they plan to increase their YouTube video marketing efforts. Okay. So, I mean, all of what this is would be deemed organic, right? So going live, creating content, just because we don't pay for any exposure on YouTube. For this channel, there's not really a reason to. But even on the Ozark Fence channel, we had an Ozark Fence channel for quite a while on YouTube when I was just kind of testing it out, and we did only organic. Now, again, keep in mind, so this is advertising agencies that have major national and international clients, so maybe paid ads are more of a presence for them, but it's good to see that they're kind of emphasizing that organic ad, or not even ads, organic content is where it's at. About 1 in 3, 28% of marketers plan on increasing their Twitter organic activities in the next 12 months. Why? I don't know why. I don't guess I understand why Twitter. Do you guys use Twitter? I mean, maybe I'm missing the boat on this one. Maybe I'm just completely off base. Let me know if you guys use Twitter. I keep minimizing the wrong screen. I have to minimize the slides in order to see your guys' chat here. But do you guys use Twitter? As I catch up on some comments here, Adam says, "Hey Joe, I was trying to do a Facebook Live yesterday and kept losing my connection." So, that is a concern. So we would do when we were doing lives for Ozark Fence, Ask a Fence Guy Friday, or Ask a Fence Gal Friday. We would carry a wireless hotspot with us just in case. I think ours is from Verizon. I think it's like, I don't know, it's $20 a month or something. It seemed to get better reception than our cell phones did. Can you upload videos and get the same effect if you can't keep signal? Not in terms of organic reach, unfortunately, because then it's viewed as a standard uploaded video, just as if you had edited it, really produced it and then uploaded it onto Facebook. They really, really want that live, and Facebook absolutely knows whether the video comes via live streaming or via upload. I would say look into a mobile hotspot if you're doing it from your phone. Adam goes on to say, or is there a platform that goes live to multiple places, Facebook, Instagram, etc.? I mean, there is. So this platform is called StreamYard. However, it is a what am I going to try to say? It's a it's a web-based, right? But it's not mobile web-based. So there's not really a software that can go on your phone that would then broadcast to multiple. So this is called StreamYard. A lot of the guys that you watch in the fence space that do live, StreamYard's pretty much the platform when it comes. I mean, there's others out there, OBS and the rest, but when it comes to getting started, ease of use, StreamYard is the one. So if you've got a studio or if you got a space where you could put in a computer with a camera, I would check StreamYard out because it can do, like right now, we're simultaneously live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So. But I would reiterate though, finding a mobile hotspot because typically those are better at going and grabbing signal for whatever reason than cell phones are, and you could run that and then run your live from your phone. Michael Babbitt says, "Hey, just wanted to throw out a video idea for a rainy day. I'm in northern Michigan and dealing with codes for cities, townships, villages, etc. What is the best way to determine info for spec codes?" If you could figure out a magical solution to this, I'm all ears. We end up just dedicating a lot of time to figuring out. Well, I mean, we create a spreadsheet, I guess, when if we go into a new township, we've got most of them, but so say Republic, then it'll say here are the fencing regulations and here's a URL to click to their building codes. We try to keep those up. So if we click on it and it's not up to date, we'll go find a new URL and update that. But I mean, the best way is just to reach out to that city, town, whomever. But then you add another layer onto it, which is HOA. Every HOA is different. They all want to be their own thing. So every one of their regulations will be different as well. So the city could have a regulation that says, nothing over 6 foot. It's kind of a standard thing here where if you want to go over 6 foot, you need engineer stamp drawings. You need to submit it. As a building permit rather than, it needs to be inspected as a building rather than as a fence. It needs to be inspected as a structure. Anyway, they try to make it really hard for you to build over 6 foot tall. So say you're wanting to build a 6 foot fence. All right. So that meets, whatever the city is codes. But then the HOA says, well, we prefer 4 foot shadow box. And that's actually the only thing we're going to allow in ours. So even though you met the city code or the county code, depending on where you are, township, etc., you still have HOAs to deal with. It's kind of a massive pain, but I don't know that there's a good way of having a resource for this other than just kind of creating a spreadsheet that says, Greene County pretty much open as far as building codes go, except for when we deal with pools. Republic is this, Springfield is that, with a description in one of the fields for some bullet points on what the stipulations are and then a URL to the building code. But the best way to determine it, a lot of times it is just searching their website, so Springfield, Missouri fence code, see if that pops up, or just Springfield, Missouri building codes, and then find the right page, find the URL, put that in the spreadsheet, But some of the townships don't have their building codes aren't listed online. So then you have to call, depending on who it is, they'll have like a building development service or, the BDS department. I don't know. There's not like a surefire way. It's a lot of time spent just trying to figure it out. So maybe if someone else has it figured out, let me know, and we will include it in a video to try to spread that out to others. Said so says only see Twitter third party about Trump and Musk. Yeah, so I was like, I don't think Twitter's a thing. I really don't think it's a thing, but I don't know that it's as prevalent as this report makes it out to be. But doesn't mean it's not, I guess. But it just means that I don't think it's as big of a deal. So more than half of marketers, 54%, plan on increasing their LinkedIn organic activities over the next 12 months. I think that makes perfect sense because, like I said, it's not only B2B. Now, it's massive for B2B, for business to business, but you got to think these people that are making these purchasing decisions also have a home, and they also need fence work or stain work or cleaning work, what have you. They have needs, and they're in the professional sector, so they're probably going to be more open to having a service provider come out and do the service for them rather than them try to take it on themselves. Well, 1 in 3 marketers are planning on increasing their Twitter. Did we already talk about this? I think we did because I don't understand that at all. Increasing their Twitter organic activities makes no sense to me. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm one person though, so don't take this as gospel, but I don't understand that at all. 37% of marketers plan on increasing their TikTok organic activities. I think this is lower than it should be. I think everyone should be trying to figure out TikTok. Yeah, and understand TikTok isn't just the dances. That's part of this, but that's how it kind of started. But in our TikTok channel, which is also Joe, you can just search Joe Everest there too. It's me kind of documenting. Actually, I'm going to do one after this because I haven't done a sales update in a while. It's literally just a sales update, and then I walk you through the e-commerce, show you kind of what merchandise we're processing through at any given time. I don't know any of the TikTok dances. My daughter will tell you that. So it's more than just the dances. So I think you should be figuring out TikTok. This 37% is lower than it should be. Okay, a significant 52% of marketers have no plans to use TikTok. They will. I guarantee it. I don't know how you're going to track this out there, but people said this about Facebook, and people said this about YouTube, and people said this about Instagram. People said this about all of them, right? So Instagram started as this kind of little known photo sharing. People didn't understand it. People didn't why. There's only certain segments of the community that were using Instagram. Is I would never use Instagram. Why would I even do that? Fast forward, Facebook obtains Instagram, makes it more relevant, opens up different features and different uses. Now, massive amounts of people use Instagram. So I think TikTok's going to be the same thing. I think there's 52% of marketers that will soon be having plans to use TikTok. They have no plans to use TikTok. I would guarantee that they will. Or they just won't be marketers, or they won't be relevant marketers. You know what I mean? I'm sure when television came about, there were certain radio executives that said, I will never use television. I don't believe in it. I will never do it. Wonder what happened. Future Snapchat plans. Only 7% of marketers plan on increasing their Snapchat organic activity. Yeah, I have a hard time understanding where Snapchat comes in for businesses. You see a lot of it in terms of paid ads, but you don't see a lot of it used well for organic business. So, this makes sense. Significant 80% of marketers have no plans to use Snapchat. I'm probably in that group. I don't have any plans to try to figure out Snapchat for a business. I don't see businesses that are posting on Snapchat organically having. I don't see them posting organically, much less having success. On TikTok, I'm a consumer on TikTok. I love watching them TikTok's algorithm is fantastic at figuring out exactly what you want to see when you want to see it. So I'm in like, so everyone always says like there's these different sectors of TikTok, right? So right now I'm in business development TikTok, where it is just serving me e-commerce businesses that are scaling and growing and how they're doing it, how they're sharing information, or sharing their experiences with it. I'm in business development TikTok. Now there's also like, there's fishing TikTok, there's hunting TikTok. If TikTok figures out that you're spending more time watching these types of videos, they go get all the other ones and they just start sending them to you. So I don't know where we're going with that, but yeah. Oh, I've seen businesses use it really well is what I was saying. I don't see them using Snapchat organically well at all. I don't see any of them doing it, but it's probably because I'm not on Snapchat a whole ton either. Social media platform marketers want to learn more about. Instagram's at the top. That's interesting to see Instagram so high on the ones people want to learn about, because I feel like there's been so much training out there for Instagram. Now there's always new tweaks, right? There's also always new announcements, but as far as how the platform works, I mean, I don't know that there's anything new or trendy about it. YouTube, a lot of people are getting into YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. I really thought you'd see TikTok. It's some more of the emerging platforms out there. So maybe that's the nugget out of this for you guys, is there's still people that just aren't giving TikTok the proper respect for what it can do to businesses. So maybe that's where you start growing your business, growing your organic businesses. We asked marketers to identify which social media platforms they want to learn more about. Instagram was held at the top slot for the fourth year in a row. Facebook dropped to the third spot below YouTube. Interest in TikTok grew from 32 to 47%. So I guess you could say it's growing. Business and consumer marketers are more interested in learning about Instagram. That's interesting. Business to business marketers are far more interested in learning about LinkedIn. That makes perfect sense. Guys, I'm sorry. Keep minimizing the wrong screen. I keep wanting to click over and see your guys' comments. All right. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this. If you guys have questions, you want me to go back, you want me to expand on any of this, let me know. I'm loving reading it. All right. Again, Twitter, 37% of marketers plan on increasing their TikTok organic activities. We've already seen this. For some reason, when I minimize it, it goes back a couple pages or something. Regular video used by platforms. So this is kind of getting more into what I like talking on, or what I'm interested in, which is live video. Video in general, right? So we also produce recorded video content, but live video is really my jam. This year, we decided to study which platform marketers use to regularly publish video. Facebook is the top performing platform. Interesting. Followed by Instagram and YouTube. That's incredibly interesting, seeing that YouTube is or has been like the video platform for quite a while. Facebook and Instagram, obviously same company, and then YouTube. So interesting to see. LinkedIn, I don't see a lot of video on LinkedIn. I mean, TikTok at 11%. TikTok is only video, so I don't know. I guess it's which one marketers use to publish videos. Okay. So, again, no one's really jumping in on TikTok. Look at that, though. 58% regularly publish videos to Facebook. The most important video format for marketers is, we ask marketers to select the single most important video format, native video. So, native video is video that is made for that platform. So if we were to repurpose this video, re-edit it, and post it on Facebook, that would be native Facebook, rather than us just sharing a video from our YouTube page to our Facebook page. Native videos, 33%. Looping short videos, Reels, TikTok, etc., 24%. So, interesting. So, looping short videos. So, So it split out Reels and Stories. Stories are short videos that expire. Interesting. So 38% are short video is kind of my takeaway. Live videos 14%. Should be higher. I think a lot of people are sleeping on live video, just in terms of how much content you can get out in quickly. The velocity of content, live is king. That's interesting to see. Short videos are 38%, so more than recorded native video. Well, no, okay, that's not fair. So short video is recorded, but I mean, yeah, more people are uploading short video content less than 60 seconds than native video, which is 60 seconds or longer. Interesting. How will video marketers change their future video marketing activities? Marketers mostly plan on increasing their usage of Instagram video and YouTube video and Facebook video. These are the same platforms marketers chose in 2021. Not, like I said, it seems like the ad agencies are still kind of focused on that. I mean, it seems like they're really reiterating the point over and over. Yeah. So, I mean, you can get in on Facebook. Facebook is still a great place to get in at. But just looking at this, obviously LinkedIn and TikTok are probably going to be the places that have the most upside. So if agencies aren't there, that means it's more native, it's more organic. People have their guard down a little bit more when they're viewing these. So if you come on talking about this fence you just built or the fence you just stained, they're less likely to skip it just because they're more open to consuming all content. I feel like when you get on Facebook, you're almost on guard for scrolling through ads quickly. You know it's going to be there. You got to get through it to get to your normal content. We asked marketers to indicate how frequently they run ads on a variety of social platforms. Facebook ad, the ad platform most used by marketers is Facebook, 70%, followed by Instagram. I buy that. So not that it matters what I buy, I guess. But of social spending, ours is entirely Facebook, for sure. The most valued social media app platforms. We asked marketers to select the single most important form of paid social for their business. Facebook ads took the top slot. However, Facebook dropped from 61% to 51%. I don't know. Like it's still the lion's share, right? So when you combine Facebook and Instagram, you're still at 65%. Everyone else has the smallest of slivers. Still the lion's share. It's interesting that 22% do not use paid social media at all. Kind of interesting. But all right, see if we can do this right. Let's check the chat. All right, if you guys have questions, let me know in the chat. Now we've only got a few pages left of this. Social ad types marketers want to learn about. Facebook ads. People are still trying to figure out Facebook and Instagram ads. Makes sense. 10% of people still want to learn about Snapchat ads. And 26% want to learn about Twitter ads. I don't. Okay. Facebook and Instagram took the top two. TikTok rose from 27 to 35%. Then we just talk about the demographic of people that took the survey. Largest group that took the survey work for small businesses, 2 to 10 employees, so small, like a boutique agency, followed by self-employed. That's interesting. So people that are independent contractors. Primary target audience size, 63% are business to consumer, and the other 37% are business to business. So the majority of the people that were interviewed were wanting to learn about business to consumer advertising, or are in that sector. Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Like I said, below are the different industries that survey participants work in. I mean, the lion's share, 21% are marketing, PR, advertising, other education, arts and entertainment, nonprofit, retail, consumer goods. So these are companies that are probably like advertising for themselves. See if construction is even on there. I doubt it. So, where would we fall into this? Would you think consumer goods? Not really. That's going to be consumables, toothpaste and shampoo. I don't even know where you would fall into this if you were a home service-based contractor. And most survey participants, 84%, were 30 or older. So take that for what it's worth too. Females represented 60% of their participants. Most participants were based in the United States, followed by UK, Canada, India, and Australia. Interesting. So, guys, that was a quick look at the social media marketing or social media examiners report. Now, this is the event I go to, is this social media marketing world. If you guys want to learn more about social media marketing, I really encourage you guys to check it out. So next year it will be, I'll be going. My sister Sarah will be going. Braden will be going. I believe Jeremy will be going. So we'll be taking there will be 4 of us going at the social media marketing world next year, just to try to figure it out, right? Just to try to figure it out and to network. I can honestly say this YouTube channel would not be a thing if I hadn't gone to social media marketing world. I met a gentleman named Roger Wakefield who has a channel called The Expert Plumber, or The Plumbing Expert. And the first year he talked to me about it, I said, "Oh yeah, I'm pretty busy though. Like, I don't know that I can do that." He's like, "Dude, I run a plumbing business. I have a home service based business. Also, I know about busy, but you need to figure out YouTube." I'm like, yeah, I'll figure that out. Then the next year I saw him and Will there, his guy Will, and we grabbed dinner, and he just basically sat me down and was like, "Listen, we're going to do this. I'm going to help you start this. I'm going to help you edit stuff. Will's going to help you edit. We're going to figure this out. We're going to get you going on YouTube." Because and the point was right. At the time, there weren't any fence guys really on Facebook or YouTube, or doing videos like this. And still in home service based businesses, there are a handful of us at social media marketing world. There were this year, so it was Roger and I. So plumbing, fencing, electrical U was there, drywall tube was there, or kind of the main 4. I think off the top of my head. But they're really, guys, there's such a wide market out there for figuring out, or there's such an opportunity out there to figure out your social media marketing, because and this is something I'm going to talk about in North Carolina, and I started talking about it there at Philly. Is like, I understand why there's not a big push to figure this out now, right? Because you've got more business than you got more business than what you need. You're out as far as you want to be booked out. We're 6 weeks out, and we can't bring 4 to 5 is kind of our sweet spot. We can't pull it back. We've raised prices to try to get up there, and we can't figure it out. There's guys out there that are months out, which is a bit mind-boggling anyway. But I understand that right now doesn't seem like the right time to figure out social media, because you're like, listen, I'm not marketing at all, and I'm as busy as I want to be. I get it. But the best time to go shopping is when you're not hungry. All right. The best time to cook a meal is before you get hungry, because if you start cooking when you're hungry, you're already behind the 8 ball, right? And it's the same thing with marketing. The best time to figure out your marketing is before you need it, right? You can mess around with it. You can afford to spend time on it, where you get 2 hours a week, guys. 2-3 hours a week, tops. And even that's probably a bit much. You do a live video once a week for half an hour, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. Start somewhere, right? But start now, when your business doesn't depend on it, when you don't need that phone to ring because of the social media content that you've been producing. Now is the time. If you wait till you need business, you're going to be behind the 8 ball, because this isn't a water faucet that you turn on and off. This is a muscle that you build up the use of, that you get stronger at, that you get more familiar with, that you know how to run the ads, that you have experience in it, right? And so that report touched on that the more experienced advertisers on these platforms had better results with lead generation. The time to get started is now. Like, when you can afford to take time off to do this, when you can take time to go get training, when you can afford to take time to learn about what these platforms are, and you can afford to not have your phone ring when you do them. it's the best time. You said, Joe, I don't need my phone to ring. Perfect. This is the time so that your phone will start ringing when you need it to, right? When you really need to turn that on, when things get slow and you just really got to find some extra business, then your phone will be ringing already, and you will be glad you had started today. Now listen, I hope that day doesn't come for another 2, 3, 4 years. I hope that day never comes. I have a feeling it's probably going to, right? We need to be realistic about this. But I encourage you guys to to try to check this out, to social media in general, try to figure out how you can incorporate your business into it, how you can meet clients before they meet you, right? Is the whole point of this whole thing. But yeah, I think that was an interesting report. Let me know what you guys think about it. You can find it by searching Social Media Examiner Report 2022. It was totally free. I literally downloaded it a few minutes before the live, so I didn't have to put in my email address or anything like that. I simply downloaded it and went from there. So, because some of those you never know, right? Some of those reports are like, well, if you give me your email address, your cell phone number, the middle name of your firstborn child, then I will give you this free report. And you know for a fact that report was not free, because now they have that data. You gave that data to them, and that's what they wanted. This was a totally free report. I was expecting to probably have to put in my email. So a lot of those will say, to download this report, enter your email. And you enter your email, and they say, oh, we emailed it to you. Well, now they know that it's a valid email address, right? Because they were able to get it to you, and it didn't bounce back, and they know they got it to you. So now they know they got a valid email address. I was expecting that, but not even that. So, yeah. Guys, let me know if you got any questions in the chat. We might wrap this up early, just seeing that it is Memorial Day weekend, and I'm the only one here. So maybe I would like to go hang out with the fam for a little bit. Tonight we've got dinner. So my wife, Taylor, is her birthday's coming up, but we're going to dinner tonight to celebrate with some friends. See who has liked this live stream. So the Fence Industry Podcast with Dan Wheeler, he actually gave it a heart. So Dan, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's see. So Adam Sims was the first one to like it, followed by Brian Fredrickson, Empire Fence and Netting, and Kara West Steel. Thank you so much, guys. Guys, if you don't mind, give this a like. It helps the algorithm. It helps us share this with more people. Also, if you guys are listening to this on a podcast, feel free to share it out. Feel free to share it with other people who might like to listen to this content while they're doing other stuff. That was probably the number one piece of feedback I'd gotten about the show, is that people would start the broadcast but then put it on in some earbuds while they're working on projects. Totally understandable. But that means that we probably ought to have created this podcast a little bit sooner. Dan, like I said, twisting my arm for a while. I should have listened sooner, Dan. I apologize, but here we are. So if you're listening on the podcast, I appreciate you, and feel free to share it out. Also, when I'm listening to podcasts, they always say they're always asking for reviews. So maybe that's a thing on podcasts. So if you like this podcast, give it a review. I think it would help. I don't know. But yeah, of course, if you guys have comments for me, you can always email them to me, joe@thefenceexpert.show. Always happy. Now, I say this, I'm not the quickest to respond. I will tell you right now. Let's see what the email. This isn't only that one. This is a combination of about 6 or 7 email addresses or email accounts, but there's 125 unread messages. I'm getting to them. Every evening, this is how I spend my time decompressing, is answering emails. There's just so many of them. There's also comments. There's also, I don't want to have anyone else respond to them. So a lot of the bigger channels will have someone like a community manager who their job is to just reply to comments, respond to emails, things like that. But I don't know. I don't think that would feel great if we were doing that. So it's still me, but there's only one me. So patience is what I'm asking for. Kyle Hamburg says, hey, Joe. Hey, Kyle. So glad you're here. All right, guys, let me know if there's any last minute questions, comments, anything like that. If not, we will probably wrap this up a little early. Roger says, answer us. Don't answer. We'll still be here. Roger, I think Roger is a great example. He had emailed me a couple of weeks went by, and he replied, repinged me. He's like, hey, just making sure I got the right email address. And he did. It just took me a little bit to get back to him. So, Roger, I appreciate your patience for sure. I appreciate you still being here. All right, guys. I tell you what, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Go see the fam and hang out with them for a little while. As always, like I said, email me questions or comments you guys might have. If you guys are listening on the podcast, I really appreciate you making it all the way to the end. Until next time, Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors. And I'll see you next time.